Hey folks, and welcome to week 15. So, very simple. Watch the video. You guys are doing that right now. Then we're going to move into a sample the annotated bibliography. This is a little mini annotated bibliography if you've ever done one before. It's a real short version. So for every source in that you've currently found for Essay 4, if you find more later, that's great. Add them in. You don't need to worry about this. This is to sort of give me an idea where you are and be able to see the quality of the sources you've currently got. What you're going to do, it's going to be a citation and then a brief discussion. What questions from your list the source answers and what those answers are. This is a way for you to start practicing writing those answers. These things are going to show up in your paper, so if you do a good job answering them here, there are some ways in which you can sort of cut and paste this information into your paper. And then this orange part here is, why is this source credible? Okay? And I don't just want, it's a scholarly source or something of that sort. Think about the things we looked at for Essay 2. How was the study designed? What did it show in reality? Was it big enough? Was it done in such a way that would give us some faith that it's accurate? Okay? Those sorts of things. So look over this sample. I only put one annotation in here, but do one for each of the sources for Essay 4. So again, that's the annotated bibliography, their sample, and the Dropbox for it. Then watch this little video called Writing in the Real World. That actually talks about the Science Versus podcast a little bit, and the sample Essay 2 I gave you to sort of talk about the way in which that works. Submit your revision of Essay 1, 2, or 3. You did some work on it last week. You can turn it in this week. You can up the grade on any one of those 3 essays. And then finally, I want you to write Introduction to Essay 4. Now, I know you're thinking that seems really incredibly simplistic, but what I really want you to think about here is this is a full-blown research paper in that you start with this practical problem and you will end with a practical solution with research in the middle. So what your introduction should really do is lay out the practical problem. So the sample that I'm giving you here is actually going to lay out the practical problem. This actually talks about whether or not marijuana is actually a reasonable alternative to benzodiazepines or SSRIs in treating anxiety and depression. Okay, so the first thing it does sort of lays out how many people are on these things, the drawbacks to benzodiazepines and SSRIs, and then it finally, at the end here, posits sort of this question about marijuana. And even so, it notes that more research is needed, okay? But the idea here is to lay out the problem. So if what you're dealing with is, I don't know, cancer rates, well, what's the problem? How many people suffer from this? What's the problem with this? What you want to really do here is lay out the sort of ins and outs of the concern that you're starting from, such that when you start talking about a solution, you can refer back to it. So that's what your introduction should look like. The other thing to note here is this introduction's over a page long. You've got a 7 to 10 page paper here. It's perfectly fine to use multiple paragraphs and make it run a little bit longer if you need to do that in order to lay out the scope of the problem. Okay? All right, that is it for this week. I'm going to note next week your rough draft is going to be due Wednesday. We will attempt to do peer review by Friday. It's going to be a pretty quick turnaround there. And then you guys will have about a week to do revision and get the final draft in before the end of the semester. If you've got any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'll be glad to help.